Dear friends, colleagues, and students, I'm Dr. Gwen, an aerospace engineer and a nuclear engineer and professor of aerospace science. I'm happy to reach out to you through this video. I just want to say a few words about the future of aerospace in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic that we seem to be facing today. I made another video about COVID-19 pandemic and how it will affect science and technology of the future for the 21st century. Please do go on my YouTube channel to watch that video as well if you're interested in my views on how the society and civilization will be shaped because of this pandemic. Now, I would like to state that I have many aerospace students who keep asking me, Dr. Gwen, it seems that the aerospace sector is doomed because of this pandemic, because of budget issues, money issues, many companies slowing down production, etc. Well, I want to say this for all the aerospace enthusiasts across the world. Do you know where's the safest place right now to be free of the COVID-19 pandemic? It's not Africa. It's not the ocean. It's not even Antarctica, because scientists even said that there was a chance that somebody who had been exposed had traveled to Antarctica as well. So even Antarctica is not really foolproof safe from COVID-19 pandemic. The safest place right now is International Space Station, which is orbiting the Earth at low Earth orbits, a couple hundred kilometers of altitude above sea level. The astronauts who were there before the COVID-19 pandemic started in December 26, 2019 are still there. They're protected. There's no way that virus can reach across the atmosphere and reach the International Space Station. That only happens in science fiction movies, not in reality. So you don't have to worry about that. The people in the International Space Station are safe. The new astronauts who will go to the International Space Station, and they're going to be launched in Soyuz, I believe, in a couple of days now from Russia, American and Russian astronauts. They have been quarantined for the last 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that they're healthy before they're allowed to go into space. So right now the safest place to be away from this COVID-19 pandemic is the International Space Station. I wish as a space scientist I could also be there, but unfortunately it's not for us. But it shows that the future of humanity lies in aerospace, in science. It's something that we really need to take into account. If you remember the words of Stephen Hawking, he said that eventually the humanity will face extinction from events greater than himself if there are not appropriate steps taken to take humanity into stars, to colonize the moon, to colonize maybe Mars, other parts of the solar system and further beyond. As you know, I'm a space scientist. I've written many research papers with my students on travel to interstellar destinations such as Barnard Star, Alpha Centauri, Wolf 359, Lalanda 2185, Proxima Centauri, and many. I believe I have over 10 different destinations where I have written research papers with my students on how to get there, the types of advanced propulsion systems to be used, and semi-relativistic effects of flight. I do believe that the future of humanity lies in the stars. It may look very far now with all these economical troubles that the world is having, and along with the COVID-19 pandemic, but still there are a lot of good news happening around the world I want to share with you. For example, the Boeing Starliner spacecraft to take people and cargo into space. They are on board. They believe that by May, or latest by maybe June or July, they should be able to launch the Boeing Starliner. Though Boeing is right now in a lot of trouble, you know that, because of its aviation arm and with the problem with its planes and the grounding of all the airlines because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But Boeing is still spending money and resources to go into space. SpaceX, wonderful company, has done a lot of good work. We really have to congratulate Elon Musk for being such an advanced business and financial leader who has taken steps to take humanity to space. SpaceX will be launching American astronauts into space. So after the shutting down of the space shuttle program, now Americans will have the capability to send people into space using their own means. Right now they were using the Russian spacecraft to launch American astronauts into space, to International Space Station. Now, independent of that, using SpaceX resources, NASA will be able to launch American astronauts into space. But this is not all. There are a lot of companies, organizations, Jeff Bezos, a lot of entrepreneurs, philanthropists that are spending a lot of money on space companies because space is the future. I believe if this COVID-19 pandemic had not happened, Virgin Galactic, Sir Johnson was going to be able to send people into space for the first space tourism flights at low Earth altitude. Maybe this COVID-19 pandemic will have a couple of months of effect, but eventually, I believe by end of 2020, we'll have space flights by Boeing, we'll have space flights by SpaceX, hopefully by Virgin Galactic. And those who are history buffs, you may remember that aviation really boomed with creation of airports, especially near World War. Aviation boomed by having airports and the demand of people to go to these locations. For those who don't know, in the beginning there were flying boats. Pan Am, which was the world's biggest airline at the time, used not airports but shipping docks where the planes would land on water and would then take passengers and leave again. But as airports boomed across the world, flying boats became extinct, and now we have jumbo jets flying from any one location from east to west, west to east, easily connecting people. We had supersonic flights with Concorde. I used to fly with one when I was a kid. Now they don't exist, but now new supersonic airplane options are being considered. I believe by 2021, 2022, we will see a regular occurrence of spaceflight happening to low Earth orbits through private companies as well as space organizations. Obviously, space organizations are doing their best. NASA is still planning for future space events, exploration of our solar system. European Space Agency is still doing what it can. Chinese are doing their best to map the lunar surface. Indians have a plan to launch a space probe to Venus. I believe in another 2 years. They have a plan to send their first astronaut in space by 2022. They're planning to send another mission to Moon. They're planning to send a solar physics mission to the Sun. So a lot of things are happening in India and Israel as well, which is a very advanced country when it comes to space flight and space technology. So a lot of space events are happening across the world with space agencies and space organizations. But companies are also taking part of this event as well. Aerospace companies are spending a lot of money, and people may say, oh, they are doing it because of profit. Let them do it. I mean, it's not about just the profit, but the end means. It is private companies that really made aviation boom so that everybody now in 21st century can easily take a flight. Even the poorest person has access to planes now because it has become much, much cheaper to fly now than ever because of the advancements in technology, airport technology, flight technology, etc. And I believe same will happen to space technology as well. I'm pretty sure by 2025, latest by 2030, there'll be regular flights to the moon. Americans want to go back to the moon by 2024. But that's for space agencies. But I believe commercial flights may start by 2025, 2026, 2027, maybe 2030. If you remember the movie 2001 by Stanley Kubrick, it depicted a world where we had lunar bases, where we had space stations in the low Earth orbit, where people could go. We had space hotels, if you remember the movie 2001. It's one of my favorite movies of all times. It's a very old movie. I believe it was made in 1968 or 69. I may be wrong, so it's like 48, 50 years old, but it's still one of the most classical science fiction movies of all time. It also talks about how we may have been created, etc. There's a lot of philosophical questions in the movie 2001 as well. So please take a look if you haven't watched up to now. The future of mankind, future of civilization, it depends on science and technology, but mostly aerospace technology. Believe me, my friends, my students, my colleagues, future of humanity is in the stars. Now, because of my age, I may not be able to see, I may not be able to go to those stars. But like I said, if you're interested, I have written many papers on how to reach there, to interstellar destinations. The future of mankind is in stars. The destiny of mankind is in stars. I'm pretty sure by end of 21st century, this will become a reality, possibility, not just an idea, not just a science fiction hope, but also reality of science and technology. Like I said, by 2030, I'm pretty sure we will have regular flights to the moon, maybe to nearby solar destinations. In one of my LEAG meetings that I had attended, there was a group called DHL to the Moon. They wanted to take packets to the moon regularly for those who may be looking for that. May become a possibility. Who knows? Maybe in 5 to 10 years, using DHL or Federal Express, you can send a package to the moon, to Mars, and to beyond. They look like dream now, but they're not. They are going to become reality in the future. I believe this with the conviction as a space science and space technologist. I see good things happening in the future. I recommend students all across the world, Americans, Europeans, Asians, Africans, study on aeronautics, especially aerospace engineering, space technology, space science. That's where the future lays, because eventually the Earth's resources will be too less to help and to be sufficient for all the needs of mankind. There's a lot of potential with space mining, mind you. There are more metals, especially in the Kuiper Belt, than all of Earth combined together. Very cheap, rare metals, aluminum, iron. If you go to the moon, you have a lot of helium-3, which can be used as a resource for fusion. You can look at my paper on how to use helium-3 as a fusion source, which can bring unlimited amount of energy to the world. So there are lots of materials out in space, besides the fact of going out in space. From economical perspective also, the concept of space mining can bring unlimited resources available to the usage of mankind. So because of this and because of many other effects, I believe that science and technology is our future. Space science and space technology is perhaps more important than all of these. And believe me, space science and space technology is responsible for a lot of things. I mean, today the fire extinguishers are used, the microwave used, the LCD TVs used, even the antibiotics used. Many of them have been developed through space technology. So it's not just about going into space, but also creating technologies to benefit the future of mankind. Many big aerospace companies are already working day and night to provide relief and to provide better future for humanity. Many universities, organizations, even the United Nations, there are a lot of work going on to bring benefit to humanity through space science and space technology. As a professor of space science and space engineering, I believe that this future will prevail, and I request students all across the world to study space science, space engineering, and be part of this great story. Let us go to space, let us go to the stars all together. Thank you, and I wish you a future filled with space, stars, and beyond.